The town of Cambridge, New Zealand was established in 1864 as a frontier post for the men and families of the 3rd Waikato Militia during the Land Wars. The beginnings of the women's suffrage campaign in New Zealand came 5 years later, in 1869, when Mary Ann Muller of Nelson, under the pen name Femina, published an appeal for the rights of women, including the right to vote. Meetings, lectures, correspondence to newspapers up and down the country during the following years addressed the issues of temperance and the rights of women. In 1875, Sister Mary Knox from the Pioneer Lodge of the Order of Good Templary came from Auckland with a charter to establish a lodge in Cambridge. And in 1880, a meeting was called to form a temperance lodge, with Colonel Lyon of the Armed Constabulary advocating that this branch include female membership. Local ministers, the Reverends Willis, Evans and Bull, supported the broad platform of this society, recognising those of all denominations as members, as well as embracing total abstainers and the temperate man. Women's right to vote was raised in Parliament for the first time in the 1870s. But at that stage, the MPs saw no evidence to indicate that women wanted the vote. Until 1879, only property owners had this right, when it was extended to all males of British descent over 21 years of age. Not until 1889 was the vote extended to all males over 21. In 1880, John Blair White, member for Waikato of the House of Representatives, spoke at a banquet held in his honour by local constituents, hosted by Mr. and Mrs. Hewitt of the Criterion Hotel. During his speech, he referred to 2 matters, more particularly affecting the ladies.
I was one of the 14 who voted against the Deceased Wives Sister Bill, and I only intend tonight to give one of my reasons for doing so. It is this, that the ladies themselves, I think, were not in favour of it. I also voted against giving the ladies a vote, not because I think they are not qualified mentally to exercise it, but because I felt that as a consequence of giving them the franchise, we should have to allow them to sit in the House, and that I think would result in great inconvenience. If we could ensure that only those possessed of youth, beauty and modesty would find seats in the House, it might be all right. But it would, I fear, be found the class which would be returned would consist of Dr. Mary Walkers, Polly Plums and other objectionable females of that sort. But even were the reverse to be the case, it would still result in inconvenience. For instance, it would never do to see some member get up and draw the attention of the Speaker to the fact that the Honourable Member for the Thames, for instance, was flirting outrageously with the Honourable and Beautiful Member for the Garden of Eden. I think that probably someday it may be found necessary to give the ladies a vote in order to check the democratic tendencies of the age. But the country is, in my opinion, not right for that yet. And now, gentlemen, in conclusion,
the Blue Ribbon Army became very active in Cambridge, with entertainment and lectures at social gatherings. Many members were persuaded to sign the pledge. In 1883, the Cambridge lady members gathered signatures for a petition in favour of women's right to vote in licensing elections. In 1885, Mary Levitt of the Women's Christian Temperance Union of America visited Cambridge and spoke at length on the evils of intemperance and her mission to introduce the WCTU to New Zealand. The Cambridge branch of the New Zealand Alliance and the Temperance League agitated strongly against a new hotel in Cambridge West, an upstairs bar at the National Hotel, and Sunday tippling. Other speakers, Solomon Hemus, the Reverends McFarlane and Spurgeon, and R.N. Toms, addressed Cambridge gatherings. Not all were well received. In 1887, Kate Shepherd of Christchurch was appointed National Superintendent of the Franchise Department of the WCTU. So began a campaign of petitions, lectures, debates, leaflet distribution, newspaper articles, and letters to editors. During the next 6 years, the Women's Franchise Bill was hotly debated. Women have plenty to do already and should not mix in politics. So long as women are denied the franchise, representative government is only a sham. Women do not want the franchise, and if it is granted to them, it will create dissensions in the household. Women's apparent subordinacy is traceable to the condition to which for centuries men have condemned them. Their state has always been more or less a pronounced form of slavery.
Women's mission is to get men up to heaven. This surely is a sufficiently arduous task.
The franchise should be extended only to single women and widows. A man and his wife are as one, and only represent one interest. But life was not all serious debate and agitation. In 1888, Cambridge ladies prepared to challenge their Hamiltonian counterparts at cricket. The Cambridge Parliamentary Union wanted to see the vote extended to Maori women. It was reported that the debate was of an interesting character and occasionally waxed pretty lively. In 1893, 13 petitions were presented to Parliament representing more than 30,000 women over the age of 21, almost 1/4 of New Zealand's adult women. In September 1893, the electoral bill was finally passed by 20 votes to 18, prompting a hum of excitement as telegraph lines sent the news throughout the country. Women rushed to enrol so they would be able to vote in the coming elections on the 28th of November. In Cambridge, 223 women registered, and on election day, the local newspaper reported, "The Cambridge ladies took a big hand in the election, nearly all that were on the roll exercising the newly acquired privilege." Miss Emma Forrest acted as scrutineer for Mr. Cadman, and went through her arduous task in an able manner. Alice Graham was the first woman to exercise her right at the main polling booth in the Waipa electorate, with Miss LeCain securing the honour in the Waikato. In 1919, women secured another victory, with the passing of the Women's Parliamentary Rights Act, permitting them to sit in the House of Representatives. However, it was not until 1933 that New Zealand's first woman MP, Elizabeth Macomb, was elected in Lyttelton. In 1947, Mabel Howard, MP for Sydenham, became New Zealand's first woman Cabinet Minister and Minister for Health and Child Welfare. In 1949, Iriaka Ratana became the first Maori woman to gain a seat in Parliament. In the Waipa, Marilyn Waring, our first woman MP, served from 1975 until 1984, and our present MP, Catherine O'Regan, has represented us since 1985. In 1947, Enid Taylor became Cambridge's first woman borough councillor, and in 1985, Pat Allen, the first woman mayor of Cambridge.